lesson at the University of Houston. We're going live on Facebook and YouTube. We should be live now if everything's working. So welcome aboard if you're joining us on Facebook or YouTube. This video, this stream, this live stream will be posted to the playlist. If you're looking at the screen now, you'll see this YouTube icon in the center of the page. Today we're going to be looking at this post titled Budgets, Accountability, and Expectations. I think that the link is in the video as well. So welcome aboard. I'm going to jump on over to the Zoom meeting and start to let some folks in. Alrighty. Welcome aboard. If you're in the Zoom room live with us today, welcome aboard. I would like to do a sound check. If you could let me know that you can hear me, I would appreciate it. You can text that in or just speak up.
I can hear.
Thank you very much. That's Ava. Ava?
Yes, hi.
Hi. Welcome aboard. Hey, listen, one thing I don't know that I mentioned last week is if you're here in the Zoom room, if you would go ahead and just punch into the chat the time that you got here. I save those, and that's kind of how I take roll for folks who are here. If you're not here in the Zoom room and you're watching on Facebook or YouTube live or later in the week, either way, just make sure you leave a comment so I know. I have a little record that you were here, and you also have a record. So you probably figured out this week that one way that we keep a record of you being here and doing the homework, some of the homework anyway, is grabbing screenshots for wherever it is you're watching. So if you're on YouTube or Facebook, please do that. We missed you today if you're not here, but you're welcome to watch this later. And again, this video will be posted in the playlist. So today we're going to talk about budgets, accountability. And I want to talk a little bit about expectations, your expectations for the course. So we'll do that. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes to join us. Not everybody. Well, everybody who is here, but we may have a few other folks join us. And so, as I mentioned last week, the class starts, the Zoom meeting starts at 10 a.m. every Tuesday, but I usually try not to start actually teaching or talking about anything that's really important until 5 minutes after or so. That way we don't have to repeat. For those of you who are here, I appreciate you being here early, and this is your time to ask anything you want. Ask me anything, share anything you want. Hope you're having a good week. Hope your semester is getting off to a good start. So we have a couple of minutes. I'd love to hear what's going on. Any fun things, any exciting news, anything you want to share, you can speak up or leave it in the chat. But I'm actually living in a state park right now, Stephen F. Austin State Park. My wife is a volunteer park host, and so today I'm in my studio in Friendswood in my house. But generally I'm living in the state park, and it's been really, really hot this summer. And we live in an RV. It's a nice RV with a little office, and we use Starlink for internet, which is occasionally not that great, which is why I come home to do the class every week. But I am ready for the summer to be over. I'm ready for fall. So hopefully you guys are staying cool. Hey, your homework assignment from last week was great. Not everybody, I haven't graded all of them. So for those of you who took advantage of my offer to do your assignments early, I want to thank you. You did a great job. Pretty much every early assignment I reviewed just looked fantastic. And you should have received how many points for an early assignment? Somebody chat that in. Tell me if you turned in your assignment early, tell me about that. Was that easy? Was it Did it work? Samira said you got 60 points. Way to go. So yeah, that's the deal. If you turn your assignment in early, Friday by 3 p.m., you will get extra points. That's 20% of a bump in your grade just for turning it in early. And the additional benefits are, for me, the benefit is it gives me time to spend more time reviewing your assignments and giving you feedback and input. And that might become very important as we go through the semester. Now, this is not a difficult course, so it's not like you're going to need a whole lot of coaching along the way. I think you'll be fine without me having to give you tons of feedback. But if you need feedback, it really helps if I have your assignment turned in by Friday, because then I get to use the weekend and Monday to review your assignment and give you feedback so that you have an opportunity, if you miss something or if you had some deductions, you get an opportunity to make those corrections and then resubmit your assignment by Tuesday at 10 a.m. by the due date, and you will still get the extra 10 points. If you fix whatever I ask you to fix, if there's a deduction and I give you some feedback, then you can make those corrections and resubmit it, and you still get an extra 10 points. So let me talk about late appointments for just a minute. It is now 10:05 a.m. and we're going to jump right in and get started here in a minute. But I do want to mention late assignments. I've had a couple of students request extensions, and the answer is and always will be no. I don't do extensions for late assignments. I do give you extra points for turning your assignment in early, and I would encourage you to do that. If you find yourself in a situation where maybe your dog ate your homework, and I do have dogs, and if I leave my homework out, my dogs will eat the homework. And there's all kinds of other things that can happen that would prevent you from maybe getting your assignment completed on time, which is why I would really encourage you to consider trying to do it early. That way you have a window you have a window there that if something comes up and you have a little more time. If you wait till the last minute and something's not right and something's not working, internet's down, your computer's not working, Canvas is down, I've heard pretty much every reason why an assignment is late, and I just don't make exceptions. I used to, and it was a nightmare. So that's the answer. If you're asking for an extension, the answer is consider doing your assignment early, getting the extra points. You do get 1 point if you turn your assignment in late. So if you miss an assignment, you have 2 weeks to turn it in late, and you still get 1 point. But that's a very important 1 point, because that 1 point is going to prevent you from getting a 20-point deduction. So at the end of the semester, you get 200 points for class collaboration, class participation. And so that involves a lot of different things that you may not be completely aware of at this point, but by the end of this semester, you'll probably understand how those 200 points work. But one of the benefits, or one of the reasons you get those 200 points, is that you've kept up with the course and you've engaged in the assignments and you've collaborated and you've done all of the things I've asked you to do. You've taken your quizzes. If you don't, so used to be, I didn't have that 2 week, if you did a late assignment, you still get 1 point, but I would let you do that late assignment whenever you want. And I would get students who would do 12 assignments the last week of the semester. So I had to change that policy, which I did for that reason. I need you to be engaged in each assignment. If you're getting behind and, it's 4 weeks later, that assignment from week 2 is not going to do you much good. Well, actually, it might do you some good, but it's certainly not going to keep you up to pace in terms of those 200 points for class participation. So I hope you understand. It's taken me years to kind of get the syllabus in a position where it makes sense and it's fair and equitable. At least I believe it is. So I hope you find that to be true. But if you find yourself having to do a late assignment, it's not a big deal. You get 1,000 points in the course. I promise you, if you do your assignments early, you will have your 950 points is what you need to get an A. And if you do your assignments early, you're going to have 950 points a couple of weeks before we finish the course. So by the time you do your capstone assignment, which is 200 points, which is really just a review of all the assignments, if you keep up through the semester, I'm going to be talking about the capstone assignment in the next week or two. But the capstone assignment is worth 200 points. And if you just keep up through the semester, by the time you do your capstone assignment, it's really just a matter of taking what you've already done and putting it all together in one report. It's really not difficult. And most students find that their capstone assignment is just a really good time to review what they learned throughout the semester and put it all together in one report. And it's really not challenging. It's not like a final exam. It is like a good, solid review, which is why it's called the capstone assignment. But anyway, those are the components of the scoring and the points that you want to earn to get an A. So you get 50 points if you turn your assignments in on time, Tuesday at 10 a.m. But if you turn them in early, you get 10 extra points. If you turn them in late, you get 1 point, but you don't get the deduction, the 20-point deduction. If you turn it in late, you get 1 point, but that prevents you from losing 20 points of your class participation for not turning in your assignment at all. So you want to turn in every assignment. And if you have one or two that are late, it won't kill your grade. If you're taking advantage of the early assignments, you're going to be way ahead of the game. So hope that helps. I don't see any questions posted. This is your time. If you have a question, you're welcome to speak up. Raise your hand in the Zoom room. Leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube or Facebook. I read those comments most of the time. I see that many of you are leaving comments in MoneyStudyGroup, and that's great. That's a great place to have discussion and dialogue, and I try to engage in that as well. So those of you who are engaged in GroupMe, that's your space. I created that space for you, but I don't go and check into GroupMe. But I have seen lots of screenshots from GroupMe already this semester, and it looks like you guys are using GroupMe for the purpose it is designed for this course, and that is to ask questions. Maybe you missed something in the Zoom meeting or in the assignment and you have a question. Instead of reaching out to me with those questions, please reach out to GroupMe. There are students in GroupMe who are doing a great job of answering questions, and I've seen some of those screenshots, and I appreciate your assistance in that. If there's a question in GroupMe that you're not getting answered, that you need to have answered to get your assignment completed or to move forward in the course, or maybe it's your MoneyStudyGroup portal is not working, or your Bayrock portal, your planning portal has an issue, anything like that, you're welcome to reach out to me. But first, I would encourage you to reach out to students in GroupMe. Okay, so let's get started. Last week was about savings, so we set the table in the course with the importance of savings and what is savings and how does it fit into personal finance and money management. So you did a great job learning about savings, some good content there about savings, those videos and the summaries that you did, and your responses for the most part was positive, that you learned some things and it was helpful, and that's great. This week will be very similar. This week we're going to focus on budgets. Budgets are the actual tool, the mechanism, the thing that you use to tell your money where it goes, what it should be doing for you. And so a budget is a management tool. If you're an accounting major, you know more about budgeting than most of us already, probably. So I'm not an accounting, I don't like accounting. I'm not really thrilled with budgeting, but I recognize the value of budgeting. And so this week we're going to work on a budget. You're going to do a budget. You're going to have some assistance, some tutorials, and you're going to create a budget. But don't worry about that. If you're not an accounting major and it sounds a little scary, I'm not looking for any kind of perfect budget. I just want to see where you are in terms of what does a budget look like for you. So if you are an accounting major or you've been doing a budget for a long time, then this is going to be a super easy assignment. Like if you're using mint.com or some other tool that aggregates your accounts and your spending and it just puts it into a spreadsheet and you can export that, then that's all you have to do for this assignment. If you're already working on a budget, then this assignment is going to be super easy for you. But if you're like some students and you don't really have a spending plan, you don't really have a budget, this is your opportunity to start there and do a little research, learn a little bit about what is a budget, how do you put one together, and you'll get resources to do that this week. And I'll look forward to seeing your budget and to see kind of where you are and in terms of budgeting and accounting. It's an important part of financial planning. Later we're going to get into cash flows, but budgets are very, very important. They're like the basic 101 building blocks of personal finance. So you're going to do a budget this week. And a budget is a good way to be accountable. I opened my my Right Capital app. I don't know if you guys know this, but you're gonna get exposed to the Right Capital app. Most of you have already set up your account with Bayrock, which, as you know, Bayrock uses. Bayrock is my company. I do investment management and financial planning for clients, and I've made my financial planning software available for you. So if you didn't know that, you will know that this week because you're going to have to set up your Bayrock account so that you have a financial plan and so that you can start working on it. And you'll be taking screenshots from your financial plan throughout the whole semester. So that's been made available to you already. And so you should see, if you're in Money Study Group, there is a link there. But if you just click on this update your plan, it will take you to the login page. This is where you would create your account with Bayrock and Right Capital. If you've already done that, then you would just jump down there into the login. So if you ever get lost and you need help, or you lose this link, you should save it, bookmark it. But it is on the website, missionalmoney.com. Missionalmoney.com is my website that I use for education. It's also a podcast, so yada, yada, yada. That's where this post is posted that we're looking at on budgets, accountability, and expectations. So you'll see if you click on this link, it's in Money Study Group. So I'm just using it here so I can show it to you in this video. Before I get into the expectations conversation, we're going to talk about expectations here in a minute. But one thing I want to make sure I want to make sure I don't forget, is this week, I think this is the first week, this is week 2, this is the first week that you have a quiz that will be part of your assignment. So you will do a quiz in Money Study Group. Now, I think I told you last week that signing up in Money Study Group, you could get away with 1 week without doing that, because I make the first week like preview assignments so that you can access those without actually enrolling in the Money Study Group course. There's a $75 charge. You need to do that this week so that you can access the quiz. Now, I have gotten a couple of questions about the new CTAP program, and I know that the University of Houston and Follett, the company that sold that program to the University of Houston, they have promised you that every course you take, if you're an undergrad, they will cover the cost of any required material. Well, that's a great promise, but that flat fee, they're still working on that program, and I don't know what to tell you. You can request a refund. You'll have to decide if it makes sense. How many courses are you taking that they're providing, material? But this course is, it used to be $100 for 10 years. I taught this course. And then after COVID, I set up my own platform. And so that's what you're getting. You're getting the financial planning portal, the Money Study Group online through Thinkific, and all of the resources that I've built there over the years. So right now, that's just not available through Canvas. Canvas is where you do your assignments. Anyway, that Hopefully that answers any questions. For any of you that have waited until now to actually enroll in Money Study Group, you want to do that this week, because if you don't have the quiz done, you will get deductions and it will start to affect your grade. So you will need access to Money Study Group. That's where most of the content for the course will be, is Money Study Group, inside Money Study Group, including the quizzes. Okay, I'm looking for questions. I don't see any questions, so I'm going to jump right on into the expectations conversation. So I try to have this conversation with new clients early on in the relationship, just to make sure that we both have a good understanding of what we expect from one another. As a professional who I promise a lot to my clients who hire me to be their financial planner, and I'm pretty confident that I can deliver what I promise to deliver, but I know that in order to deliver anything close to what I believe I can deliver, there are certain things that are required from both parties. And so it's really helpful and important and necessary to have clear expectations from one another for what we expect from one another. So I want to have that conversation with you now. And I want to start with you, and you're going to need to post some comments in chat or speak up. If you're watching on YouTube or Facebook, you can leave a comment below. You're going to need to probably leave multiple comments in today's lesson, because I'm going to ask several questions. And the first question is, what do you have the right to expect from me? In this course, as your professor, what do you think you have the right to expect of me in this course? So I'm going to take some notes, and I want to make sure that I know what you expect from me. So go ahead and answer that question in the chat. If you're in the Zoom room, I'm going to wait for you to answer that question in the chat. What do you expect from any of your professors? Have you thought about that? Do you have expectations? I hope you do. I mean, you're spending a lot of money to be a student at the University of Houston at the Bauer College of Business. And I'm assuming you're all at the Bauer College of Business. I teach at the Bauer College of Business. I guess some of you could be not part of the Bauer College, but I'm looking and I'm not seeing any comments, so I'm going to wait. What do you have the right to expect from me? Maybe I should play some music. Okay, I'm going to start calling out names now. Diana, what do you think? What do you have the right to expect from me, your professor? Nick, Dong, Chatelain, Christina, Fat, Samira, Ava. Okay, thanks, Ava. I see that comment. So you expect that you'll gain an understanding of how to deal with your finances, and that you'll be able to end the semester feeling less nervous about this chapter of your life. That's great. That's a good expectation in general of the course. But what you talk about there, Ava, is some things that I want to just clarify a little bit. So that's a great start. Thank you. Someone else, what do you have the right to expect from your professor, from me? In this course, what do you have the right to expect? Basic understanding of personal finance concepts. Okay, good. Thank you, Dong. I appreciate that. Someone else, what do you have the right to expect? To learn about terms like 401k plan and future full-time job. Great. Thank you, Samira. That's a good expectation. Okay, anyone else? Going once. Going twice. Christina says guidance on the lessons, concepts of the course, and guidance on the course. Sorry about that. My chat is jumping around now. I'm getting lots of activity here. And guidance on the course as it relates to the real world. Christina, that is great. That expectation, I think, is great. I like that. Being able to have a plan set in place to be a millionaire by the time you're 50. Thanks, Nick. I appreciate that. So those are some good comments. If you have any more, please pop them into the chat. I'm going to talk about them in a minute here. If you're on YouTube or Facebook, please do the same thing. What is it that you have a right to expect of me? So I've got a list there. And because you put it in the chat, I actually took notes without even typing because I get to save those. So Chatelain says, I expect to, and I hope I'm saying your name right. I'm probably not. I expect to gain more in-depth knowledge about financial planning and investment, retirement planning, before you start your full-time job. You are in the right place. You will learn all of those things. So those are good expectations. I think everybody in the chat did, except Jizen did not, but everyone else did. Thank you very much. I think pretty much everyone except for, Cedra, you did not. But thank you very much. So I'm going to jump in now and I'm going to respond. I'm going to tell you some expectations that I have of me. So I didn't pre-write these, but obviously I've thought about them. So you've mentioned several things. I'm gonna talk about them in a minute, but first let me tell you some things I expect of me. I have expectations of me. And one is to be clear with you about the assignments and how you can earn your A. That's one expectation that I think you have the right to expect from your professors, is clear instructions. It's not always easy to do. Giving clear instructions is a little bit more difficult than you might think, but that's something I believe that you have the right to expect from me and all your professors. Another expectation that I didn't see anyone mention that I think should be on the list of what you have the right to expect from me is to give you feedback along the way. So we have these assignments. Whether you know it or not, this course has a certain scope and sequence with an outcome in mind. And the outcome is, as I've said multiple times, it's my goal for you. The outcome of this course, I want to teach you how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. Now, we're not going to know if you achieve the outcome of this course for a few years for most of you, but to know that I taught this course in a certain scope and sequence in a way that will achieve that objective so that you definitely leave this course knowing how to become a millionaire by the time you're 50. To me, that involves you having the right to expect that I give you that scope and sequence, that I present this course in a way, in a certain scope and a certain sequence with certain materials, content, interactions that will deliver that big idea. It's not just a big promise that I'm trying to sell you or make you feel like, oh, this will be really cool. It's something that I really believe you have the right to expect. Because I'm promising you something, you have the right to expect that I can actually deliver that teaching, that knowledge, and that body of knowledge. So I think you have the right to expect that. Another one that was answered, and I think this is a good one that I would have added if you didn't, Cedra, thank you, is to be able to answer any questions you have relating to the course. So that is a good expectation. I can't think anything else you want to add. Please add that. And again, if you're on Facebook or YouTube and you're watching this at 2 a.m. on Sunday night, whenever, I will see your comments and I will be thinking about them and adding them to my list for this semester. I can't think of any other. Well, I do have one other thing that I think you have the right to expect from me, and that is that I'm honest with you about anything, really. I mean, one of the comments was that you have the right to expect that I teach you not just the course material, not just the theoretical stuff about financial planning, but that I teach it to you in a real life way. And I think that's a good expectation that I think you have the right to expect from me. And I am committed to deliver that to you. And it's one of the reasons we have certain rules, boundaries, and limitations. Like, for example, late assignments. the way I treat this course and assignments, your homework and all of that, I try to think of it as, I want to treat you like I'm a banker and you're investing your money and your time, your homework. And if you're late on a payment, there are certain consequences, and I want you to know those consequences. I want you to be trained in a way that makes you be more responsible with the way you manage money. And so when I'm managing your assignments and you're asking me for extensions and whatnot, I'm going to say no, because it's one way that I can try to relate what I'm trying to teach you about money management with just basic time management and homework assignments. And so that may be a stretch, but it's something that is part of my philosophy. And so I always want to be honest with you about everything that I'm doing. And I will do whatever I can to manipulate you. I will do whatever I can to manipulate you to help you achieve better results in your life. That's why I give you 10 extra points to do your assignments early. So just FYI. Yeah. So those are a good list of expectations. Now let's talk a little bit about some challenges, some things that maybe these expectations will be unattainable or unworkable. Okay. So a couple of comments expressed your expectation of me that you're going to walk away with certain understanding and that you're going to walk away with certain skills. And so I just want to kind of clarify that I can do my job and I can do it very well. Most of you already know, and most of you have already proven to me that you're going to do your job in terms of learning. And so I think that expectation is just fine and it's good, but it's a two-way street. You got to show up, you got to do the homework, you've got to apply yourself. And if you'll do that, then this expectation will be met. But it's not an expectation that I can achieve on my own, as it is the case with most of these, but that one for sure. So that was really the only one. So another question I want to just kind of talk about, because it has been a challenge for me to answer all the questions. And I'm going to try and say this in the most polite and honest way possible, but some students ask a lot of questions that have already been answered. And so they keep asking, and this is not the norm, but it's normal every semester that I have one or two or three students who want to ask a lot of questions that I've already covered. And so that's a little bit unworkable for me to be responsible to answer all your questions if in fact your questions are, because you're not paying attention or you're not doing the work. That's not the norm, but it happens every semester. And that's one reason we have GroupMe. It's one reason I thank you for helping me answer questions in GroupMe. But at the end of the day, you do have the right to expect that all of your questions get answered. Okay? You do have the right to expect that all of your questions get answered. And that's my job, and I take that responsibility. So again, in GroupMe, for example, if you're asking questions and you're not getting the answer you need, that's when you should reach out directly to me through text message or email, and I will get back to you. I hope everyone who's tried to reach out to me so far this semester has had a pretty quick response with an answer. And if that's not true, you can leave a comment in the chat and you can send me a text message or email, and I'll do my best to get your question answered. Okay. And I'm going to move on to the next section of expectations, unless anybody has any comments, questions, or anything you want to talk about before we move on. Okay, the next section is your expectations of you. So what do I have the right to expect of you? So my expectations, what do I have the right to expect of you? I want you to tell me what you think I have the right to expect from you? What do you think I have the right to expect from you? And what really, I think, I mean, maybe you could think of it as, what does every professor who is teaching you, what do they have the right to expect from you? So again, a moment of silence before I start cajoling you and calling your name and asking you to answer and leave a comment. What do I have the right to expect from you in this course, in this semester in personal finance? Cedra, you answered last, so I'm going to ask you to answer first. Nick, thank you. To turn assignments in on time. That's good. And put effort into the assignments. Good. Complete assignments in a timely manner. That you participate. I like that. I think that's good. Thank you, Cedra. And do your part in learning. That's great. Take the course seriously, Ava. I think that's great. You know, Ava, I'm just going to mention while waiting for other comments that, you know, I always hoped from the very first semester I taught this course, that students would care about their financial future at least as much as I cared about their financial future. And what I've come to believe is that a good percentage of students, like maybe 25%, what they really care about is their grade. They want to get an A, and they want an easy A. And so I've come to believe that, like it or not, that's the reality, that a lot of students who are listening to me right now are really took this course because they read on ratemyprofessors.com that it's an easy A, that you'll learn some stuff, and so that's all fine. But like I said, I'm going to do whatever I can to manipulate you, to try to convince you that what I'm trying to teach you is worth you getting excited about, you getting engaged in, and you taking advantage of. And so that's great. Thanks, Ava. Do the work. That's good expectation. Apply the lessons to your own personal finances. I want that. I want to expect that. I don't know if I have the right to expect that you take what I teach you and you put it into practice in your life. I don't know that I have the right to expect that, but I hope that, because I know that without you doing that, what I'm teaching you is not going to make a difference in your life. So yes, here's a good one. Christina, I do have the right to expect that students use the course resources to learn, ask questions, and apply the learned knowledge to their lives. And, you know, the application to your life, Christina, that may not be something I have the right to expect. I hope. Again, I hope. But I do think I have the right to expect everything else you said, that in the context of this course, you be a serious student and you take the resources that have been made available and you use them for the purpose of completing the coursework and achieving the educational objectives inside the course. Whether or not you take that to your life, that's up to you. That's what I hope. That's why I'm here. That's what I want. That would be the highest purpose for this course, in my opinion, is that you take what I'm teaching you and you actually apply it in your life and you make a difference in your own life and in your family and in your community, because you took what I taught you and you managed money a different way than you would have managed money if you didn't have a better plan, if you didn't have better knowledge and application of personal finance and how it can make a difference in your life and make your life better. And so the stuff that I'm going to teach you, the stuff that you're going to learn about personal finance, it can make a huge difference in your life, but it can also just be a bunch of minutia, like many of your classes where you just learn a lot of stuff. And that knowledge goes in your head and you pass a test and you check it off your list and you move on to the next class and you learn a lot of stuff and you pack it all in your head and you take a test and you check it off your list and you move on to the next class. That's not what this class is. This is different. At least I want it to be different, but it doesn't have to be. It's up to you to make it different, to take what I'm teaching you and to actually apply it. So Cool. Okay. And the assignment completion part, I do think I have the right to expect. Here's what I expect. I'm going to say how I would say that. I have the right to expect that you do the assignments, that I've given you instructions. They're clear instructions, and I know they're clear instructions because 98% of the students take the assignment, do the assignment, take the instructions, and then do the assignment, and they do great. And they get full points, and they learn, and it works. So if you're not getting full points, then my expectation is you didn't do the work, you didn't pay attention, you have some homework to do, and I don't think you have the right to expect me just to give you points for not doing what everyone else is doing. So I agree with that. And the discussion part, thank you for that. I do think I have the right to expect that because I'm giving you 200 points. And I'm holding you accountable in each assignment to say, hey, pick something that we talked about. There's a number of things you can use for class collaboration and just share, your class collaboration. For example, this week, you're going to all have to tell me what you're going to use. What tool are you going to use for your spending plan, for your budget, for keeping track of what you're spending this semester? You're all going to have to tell me what tool. Are you going to use your bank app? Are you going to use mint.com? Are you going to use Right Capital and Bayrock? Because you can, and I would encourage you to at least give it a look. The tool that you've been given in MoneyStudyGroup, your Bayrock financial planning portal through Right Capital, it has the same bank level encryption for aggregation as mint.com. What that means is you can plug in every account that has your social security number on it, every account that you have credentials for, your brokerage account, your bank account, your credit card, every account you can imagine, your credit union, your Schwab accounts. You can plug all those into your Right Capital plan by simply linking those accounts. And when you do that, you have additional resources in the planning portal. You get the budgeting tool, and it shows all your transactions, just like mint.com, just like your bank app does, except maybe you have 10 bank accounts. The Right Capital portal will show all of those transactions for all 10 accounts from 10 different banks. Now, I always hear students tell me they're not comfortable with the security. They don't want to give that much personal information. And I get it. I don't care if you link your accounts or not, but you should care. You might want to take a look at it because it's a very expensive tool that I made available to you, and it's a tool that I use with clients that I'm doing wealth management with who want me to help them focus on their cash flows. So it's just a tool. You certainly not require, you don't get extra points for using it, but it's an alternative to mint.com and some other ways. But you this week have to tell me what tool you're going to use for your spending plan, for your budgeting. And you can choose whatever you want. Some students are going to tell me Excel, and I'm going to say that's not a great idea because Excel is very manual. That means you got to go enter everything. You're going to probably not get full points when you do the assignment later on when I ask you to show me everything you spent this semester. But nonetheless, several students are going to just be adamant, I'm using Excel. It's a very manual process. But anyway, you got to tell me what you're going to use. And in this week's assignment, you can use that as your screenshot for class collaboration. So that's a long-winded answer to talk about expectations, about participation. But I think I have the right to expect that you participate, and that's one way you're going to participate. Okay, cool. So my expectations of you, any expectations that I have of you that you didn't mention, I think you've mentioned most of them. I can't think of any expectations that I have of you that you didn't mention for yourself. So let's move on to the next one. I don't see anything that's really unworkable here either. Let me think about this for a second. Does anyone else see any of these? You can all see what everyone's writing. I'm assuming everybody is commenting where everybody can see. I believe that's true. Yeah, it looks like everybody commented and chatted in. So if you're looking at the chat, just kind of look at those and think, if you're me, is there anything there that you expect of yourselves that is unworkable? I don't think I see any that are. I think we're good to go. Going once, going twice. I don't see any comments. So, all right. Now, the next question is pretty simple, and I hope the answer is pretty obvious. Are there any unmet expectations at this point? Have I failed to meet your expectations in any way so far? And this is, if there's something that you feel like we need to talk about one-on-one, that's great. But if it's something that affects the whole class, I would encourage you to mention it now and pop it into the chat so that I can address it and I can get it fixed. Any expectations that you've had or you have of me and this course that have not been met, that those expectations that have not been met for you, anything. Any of your unmet expectations of me. Going once. Thanks, Ava. All good so far. I feel the same way about you guys. You guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate it a lot. So it's only week one. I've only graded probably not even half of the assignments for this week. So everybody who turned it in early by Friday at 3, you got your grade. Everybody that turned it in the last, I don't know what time I did the last wave, but those got graded. But there's a bunch in the queue, and if your assignment is still in the queue, I haven't graded it yet, so I'm not talking about your assignments, but every other assignment that I've graded so far this semester has been a step of it's been a notch above the norm. And I kind of say that every semester because I always want to encourage students, but it's really true. And it's almost true every semester, but it's definitely true this semester. So thank you very much. And I know you will continue to do that kind of work as we go forward. Okay, so we're getting close. The rest of today's thank you, by the way, for having the expectations conversation with me. I hope it helps you. It always helps me. And I hope we go through this semester and we get to the other side and we can all say, my expectations were not just met, but they were exceeded. That's my hope. That's my goal for myself in this course, is that I can exceed your expectations in the context of teaching you how to become a millionaire by the time you turn 50. I want to teach you everything you need to know about managing money in a way that you can walk away from this course going, hey, I know what I need to do to become a millionaire by the time I'm 50. It's not that difficult if you just do what I'm going to teach you to do over the course of this semester. So thank you for letting us have the expectations conversation. So now you're going to build a budget. And fortunately, I'm not even going to show you how to do it because there are a lot of ways you can make a budget. You can do it and you can do this any way you want to do. There's no right or wrong budget. There are some instructions. You should read the instructions. There is some homework. I do want you to look at some examples and see how other people make budgets. This is for students who've never made a budget. Make sure you do a little research and learn a little bit about creating a budget. For most of you, though, you probably already have a budget of some kind. And so whatever you're using will probably be just fine for the purpose of this assignment in terms of turning it in. But it's a good opportunity for you to take a look at your process, take a look at your budget, tweak it a little bit, and maybe improve it for this semester. At the end of the semester, I'm going to ask you to show me the data. I want you to show me the data. What I mean by that is, so this week, you're going to have to tell me what tool are you going to use to track your expenses, everything you spend throughout this entire semester. It's easy if you use a tracking tool like Mint.com or Right Capital or your bank app. I use credit cards, so I have a couple of credit cards, and obviously, I don't spend cash. I just don't generally carry cash. Occasionally I do, but most of the time, if I spend money, it's through one of two credit cards. One is for my business, one is for my personal. So it keeps track to the penny of everything. It gives me a categorized list. So I could use that to create a budget for next month or next year. The point is it tracks everything automatically. It's two different banks, so I like to aggregate those, and I use Bayrock Capital to do that. But you're going to have to select your tool, one that works for you. You don't have to impress me. I want you just to find a tool that works for you to track your spending. And again, most of you are probably already doing that, so you're ready to do this assignment and be done with it. And that's fine. This assignment is not difficult. So that's pretty much it this week, is to do that assignment. But then, do the budget. But also in the assignment, this is where you're going to become much more familiar with your Bayrock planning portal. And again, that's provided through Right Capital. It's actually provided through Bayrock Financial. I pay Right Capital. They're my technology partner for financial planning in my company. And I made that platform available for you to create a plan so that we can work through that this semester. So you're going to do that. You're going to set up your Bayrock plan, and you'll see how to do that in MoneyStudyGroup. Make sure you register and enroll for MoneyStudyGroup. If you need any help with that, jump into the GroupMe. Plenty of students have already done it, but you need to do it because there is a quiz, and the quiz will be a screenshot that you need to take to get full points. So also, just to mention, the Right Capital has a mobile app, so it's a really cool app. Maybe I'll show that to you next week. I'm using my phone right now as a camera, so I could show you the app if I had my phone, but my phone's up there. So there's a mobile app for Right Capital. There's also a mobile app for Thinkific. So there's links in MoneyStudyGroup if you want to use either one of those to consume the data. So Thinkific is the learning platform. MoneyStudyGroup is on Thinkific. But the financial planning platform has a mobile app as well. It's called Right Capital, so you can download that in the Apple Store, Google Store, and you can have that on your phone. Once you set up your account online, you'll need to do that online. And again, I showed you, I'm going to scroll to the top. At the top of every page at missionalmoney.com, this is the landing page to do that. If you've already done it, you can log in right there. But once you do that, you're going to set up your plan. And once you've done that, then you would download the app and you would log into the mobile app with the same credentials. So if you're into that, it's kind of a cool app. I've been playing with it. I tend to use, I'm on my MacBook all the time, so I don't use the mobile app. There's more functionality online. So if that's true about a lot of things. So the mobile app isn't as functional as online. So, and that's kind of true with Thinkific as well. But Thinkific, actually, if you're just wanting to consume the lessons, just watch them and read them, that's pretty cool through the mobile app. So give it a try. I just wanted you to know it was available. So that's pretty much it. Your homework this week is to do the budget. You're going to watch some videos on how to create a budget. You're going to set up your Bayrock financial plan, and you're going to make sure you enroll in MoneyStudyGroup so you can take the quiz. You're going to learn about Dave Ramsey's baby steps this week in this lesson. One of them is, you'll get to learn there's 7 of them, and I think they're great. They're a great way to engage in financial planning for anyone who's just getting started in financial planning. So I thought it'd be good to take a look at those. And that's what the quiz this week is the Dave Ramsey's baby steps. So that's about it. It is 10:53 a.m. I'm going to jump into the chat and see if I have any questions or comments. I don't see any. So I'm going to give you a minute to think about that. If you have any questions, I'm going to be around for a couple of minutes here. I'm going to drink some water. I'm going to go end the live broadcast on Facebook and YouTube. So if you're watching on Facebook and YouTube, cheers. If it's 2 a.m, I hope you're drinking water. But anyway, have a great day. I'm going to end the broadcast, and then I'll be right back for my Zoom group here. Give me just a minute. Okay, I'm now going to end the broadcast. So if you're on Facebook